Okay, here we go. Bread making 101. So, guess if you got to pull wrenches in the shop, you need to know how to make bread in the house. And this is wheat flour here, and this is barley flour. And then this is the recipe that I ended up finding, so I don't know if you'll be able to screenshot this and then hopefully print it off and you can zoom in on it. So the instructions are on this side, and then this is kind of the recipe part. So hopefully that'll work for you. And then I'm just going to show you, so the wheat that I use is from a buddy. This is seed wheat, so it wasn't sprayed in the fall or nothing. It's a Go Early wheat, it's called. And then this is the barley that I grow. It's a Synergy malting barley, and I find it really good. So, okay. So this is just a Vitamix that Melissa has. It's a dry container, and then I just use one cup of, you can put about a cup and a half of wheat in here, and that's as full as you can fill it. Once it stops dropping in on itself and it's starting to kind of clump in the bottom there, then you're just about max to what it'll do. So I just wanted to show you that Vitamix and how well it works. And then I guess if you watch real bread makers, they say to not pack the flour in when it gives you your measurements. So what I do is just fill. So I'm using 2 1/4 cups of wheat flour and 1 cup of barley flour. And it doesn't rise as good with the barley in there, but you get that rich flavor. And it makes a little bit of a heavier bread, which I really like. So 2. Quarter. Can make a lot of flour out of a little bit of grain. Then you know it doesn't have all that bleach in it and nonsense. So I'll turn you back over here. Okay, and the recipe calls for, so all I use the bread maker for, is to knead the bread. And then other than that, I don't let it cook in the bread maker. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. I do all that in the stove. So 1 1/4 cups of water. Two tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I just use canola oil. So 2 tablespoons of that. And 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt. Here's the half. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then what I did is I just measured it out. Here's my sugar one. Okay, and then you add the 3 1/4 cups of flour. And again, this was 2 1/4 cups of wheat flour, of Go Early wheat, and 1 cup of Synergy barley flour. Okay. And then we need 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, and I use this Red Star active dry yeast. So 2 teaspoons, and it says to kind of make a divot in the middle of your flour, so I dump 1 in the divot, and then I kind of sprinkle the rest over top, kind of throughout over the flour. Okay, and then all I do from there is I turn this on, so I knead the bread for approximately 15 minutes, and I probably leave it in the bread maker for 6 minutes of that or something, and then I pull it out and I knead it by hand, and then I put it into a dish. So because I like to cook them in these bread pans in the stove, and it seems like when you turn the stove on, you want to make more than 1 loaf at a time. So then as soon as I pull 1 out and start kneading it by hand and letting it rise, I'm going to start another batch, and then I can put 2 in the stove at the same time. Okay, so the bread maker's started. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is just topping up my flour bowls or whatever, and then I'll bag some of it up so that every time I don't have to dig my pails of grain out, and I'll have enough flour to make another couple of loaves if I need to in a few days. So this is just the barley we're going to make a cup of. So we've been about 8 minutes in the bread maker. Probably getting time to do something with it, so. Okay, so this is the part, I guess the only part that I use white flour. I just got some, and where I've already cleaned the countertop, and then where I'm going to start to work the dough, I guess. I just like having flour there to kind of make it so it's not quite so sticky. Okay, so I'm going to leave that sit there for a minute and then try to get another batch going right away. So the one thing that I am absolutely horrible at is I'm sure I could do that recipe 10 times and I would still have to look at it every single time. Okay, so 1 1/4 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I use canola oil, and then we use 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then we put in our flour that I've already measured out. So I'm saying all this, you can't even see the, there we go. Okay, and then we need the 2 teaspoons of the active dry yeast. Okay. And now I'll just set that for 8 minutes, and then we'll know that it'll have been in the bread maker as long as this batch was. So it'll start, and then we'll just work this over. So when you're looking at a bunch of other YouTube videos of making bread, you'll knead the bread, and then once you knead it and get it all stretchy and stuff, then you'll kind of open it up with your thumbs, and you'll get till you just about break it, and then you'll try to make a window where you can see your finger through the back without it actually breaking apart. But I find the minute that you use like grain and you're making your own flour, and then especially when you add that 1 cup of barley, it just acts completely different. Not even than just regular flour, but that barley it doesn't stick like wheat does. But it seems like if you do this for 5-6 minutes, then it'll make a decent loaf. And then again, I really like the taste of it, so. Okay, so we're the last minute out of our 8, so it was in the bread maker for 8 minutes, getting kneaded in there, and then we did 8 minutes by hand. And then all I do is I try to roll it underneath of itself, and all I'm doing is getting ready for it to sit and start to rise. And I think I let it rise for a half hour. And then I put it in the oven on bake at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so I'll just pull the other one out, and then instead of fast forwarding the video, I'll just pause it and then knead the other one for 8 minutes, and then let it rise for a half hour, and then I'll pick up the video again. Okay, so we're 10 minutes into the rise cycle, and I'm just gonna take and push them down. Okay, and for this, when I let them rise the last time here, I put them in the bread pans. Okay, now I'm gonna set it for another 20 minutes to rise, and then I'll start the oven and get ready to put them in. Okay, final stage. I just set the timer. It's on 350 bake, and I let the bread rise for about a half hour, maybe a little bit longer, and then I just started a 25-minute timer, and then I just stuck the loaves in there now. So I'll check in with you when I pull them out in 24 minutes. Okay, it's been 25 minutes. Just get a little bit of parchment paper. And then just rub some butter on them. Seems like it adds flavor and it won't be so hard. Again, kind of you can see where the crust breaks there. And that's kind of just the nature of that barley, it seems like. But again, it still makes for a really good bread. Okay, and then usually what I do is just let them cool there for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, and then I can get a bread bag over top, and then I just leave it open for the night. Anyhow, that's how I make bread, and tastes really good. Give it a try, and we'll catch you later. All right, take care. Bye.